Hello everyone and welcome to Whisky Wednesday. It is not often that I talk about Balvenie because, in all honesty, I've always found it a little bit dull. That's not an aspersion on any of you that drink Balvenie. Everyone likes their own whiskies. For me personally, I've just always found it a little flat. But this one, the 14-year-old Week of Peat, I think we have reviewed a version of this in the past. It was a travel retail bottle. The label was very different. And in between filming that and this, we filmed an old bottle of Balvenie 10-year-old, the cognac bottle, the famous one. I won an auction ages ago. But this is the first Balvenie, which has got me very excited for a long time. This was part of a 3-part series. There was a 12-year-old, this one, where is he? This was called The Sweet Toast of American Oak. Unfortunately, it is extremely boring, despite all the fun they've kind of put on the front of it. They use virgin oak and some like toasted American oak. It's 43% as a 12-year-old. It is very sweet and smells like cream soda. If you like that thing, cool, buy it. But I think for something which uses virgin oak, it's just quite flat. But that's a personal opinion, as all of these things are. There was a 26-year-old, which I can't afford, so we're not going to review that. And then there was this one in the middle, which is the 14-year-old Week of Peat. This is a non-chill filtered Balvenie at 48.3%, I believe. Yeah, 48.3. That is a strength which I believe is even higher than their single barrel whiskies, the 15 and the 12, the 15 and the 21, which I think are 47.3. So it's even higher than their single barrel stock. I don't know the official ppm level. I don't think it lists it anywhere on. Oh, it does actually, yeah. So it's 30 ppm, which they say is very similar to Laphroaig and Ardbeg. I think Laphroaig and Ardbeg are a little bit stronger than that. I think they're about 35 and 40, but it's peated to 30 ppm. And the smell of it, as we'll talk through in a minute, reminds me very much of Talisker if it was from Speyside. Balvenie is a huge part of the whiskey industry, as is Glenfiddich, the brother and sister distilleries. I used to love Balvenie. I think I've grown away from it in time just because they are designed for the drinker who wants just something really relaxing and really easy to drink, and there is nothing wrong with that. But if I'm going to spend my own money on a bottle, I want to be quite challenged, and I want to make sure it's something that is every glass and every time I sip from it, it's going to be either very different or I have to kind of study it. But I'm quite geeky when it comes to stuff like that, so that's just me. But this was the first Balvenie in a long time which made me do that. Now, a couple of other whiskey YouTubers have reviewed this. Most notably, I think it was Rob, who runs Whiskey in the Six. If you aren't familiar with him, please check him out. I love his channel, it's fantastic. I can't remember what score he gave it, which is a good thing because it means it won't influence me. But yeah, 30 ppm, 48.3%, non-chill filtered, mostly ex-bourbon cask. There might be a touch of sherry in it. But the reason peated Balvenie exists is because for 1 week of the year, Balvenie peat whiskey, which is used for the Grant's blended whiskies. But it's been proven to be such a good product that they've now released it. I'm not sure how long this thing will be sticking around for. As it says on the front, it is part of the Stories collection with this nice little kind of neck tag. So it could be around for a while. It may only be around for a small amount of time. But that's enough of the history. Let's smell it, let's taste it, let's see what's going on. If you gave me that blind, I would say it was Talisker. Straight away. It's salty, it's briny, like loads of green and black olives. Like the spice on the nose is really reminiscent of salt and like fresh red chili. And then lingering in the background are those bourbon casks. They're vanilla driven, as you would imagine, but it's due to the salt and the kind of the spice element of it. It's more like a baked vanilla, like if you've ever cooked like a New York style cheesecake. Very much that, but with that smoky spiciness. I'm also not much of a tea drinker, but there is like a very lapsang souchong thing going on with it, which I do tend to get from Laphroaig every now and then. But it is nowhere near as medicinal as Laphroaig or Ardbeg. It is a softer type of smoke while still being, you know, very present within the mix of it all. It smells delicious. But if you were to give, I would say if you were to give any whiskey drinker that blind, no way would they say it was a Speyside. But that's the fun part of this whiskey. Ooh, it's quite vegetal up front. There's almost like raquito peppers. There's kind of sweet red peppers. There's a bell pepper note with it, which I've only ever got from a couple of bourbons in the past. The salt is so present, honestly. If you're a Talisker fan, if you're an Old Pulteney fan, what else is quite salty? To a degree, Clynelish, some Barora, Kilhoman. If you like salt, honestly, look at this thing. It's so interesting. The development of the chili, which I know is a flavour note, be it taste or smell, which can put a lot of people off. Some people don't like that kind of spice. I like it in small amounts. There's no like harsh capsaicin, like raw chili spice with this thing. It's more like, you know, if you cook it down in a pan with like, you know, onions and garlic and stuff like that, it's mellow. It's just kind of gripping like the back of the finish of the whiskey. But up front it is this salty, almost like parsley, green herb, bell pepper, earthy kind of thing. And I think the style of that's quite well reflected in the colour choice of the bottle and the tube. They've gone for these really kind of stone, sand, black, green kind of colour scheme, and it really does reflect like the earthiness and the characters of this whiskey. Really delicious. I've mentioned Talisker. There's an Elsa Bay note to it. It's almost kind of like what you want Bowmore 12 to taste like. If they boozed up Bowmore 12 and put a little bit more smoke into it and some more active casks, I think you'd get this. But you should probably just buy this because it already exists. This is roughly £60 a bottle. It is lovely. As with the Bunnahabhain last week, I think the score is quite the same. We're going to go with an 8.5. It is a delicious product. It's something which is maybe quite excited about Balvenie again. And yeah, I can only say as much as that. There's that much left in the bottle, so it tells you how good it is. But for the first time in a long time, we've got an exciting Balvenie. If you aren't a fan of peated whiskey, this video may seem a little bit pointless, so I apologise to you. But for those of you that maybe want to get into it, because it is a flavour profile, I can only speak from experience, where you want to find extremes. I love Laphroaig and Ardbeg, and those are extreme whiskies. I love bourbon, which is driven by spice and sweetness. So I'm always looking for like an extreme style. But that is gentle, it's mellow, it's not medicinal peat, it's softer, while still retaining that kind of salty coastalness. But it's totally worth a look. Even a sample, like if you can buy a little sample online or something, check it out. A good whiskey bar may have it behind the bar. But yeah, Balvenie, 14-year-old week of peat. I'm going to give that a solid 8.5. It's delicious. I'll probably be buying another one just to keep for like a rainy day. But yeah, tell me what you think about Balvenie below. Is it something you like? Is it something you don't like? It's been 4 years since we last reviewed one, so a long time. But yes, thank you all for watching. This is Balvenie, and I'm Phil, and we'll see you all next week. Cheers.